Radhe Krishna. Namaste. On behalf of Adhyatma Yoga Academy and Advaita Academy, a hearty welcome to all of you this evening for the Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, the global festival of divinity in humanity, celebrating the universal teachings of Sri Krishna. From today onwards, we have a Harikatha Saptaham in collaboration with Vijayshri School of Harikatha, founded by Srimati Vishakha Hari. This one glorious week, we will have the opportunity to listen to Harikatha by different Shishyas of Srimati Vishakha Hari. Today, we have on Krishna Janmam from the Bhagavatam by Ramya Sridhar, who is based in Buffalo, New York. Ramya Sridhar was first introduced to Carnatic music at the tender age of 5 and now is currently learning vocal music from the Veena exponent Srimati Padmavati Anantagopalan. In addition to this, she has also ventured to the art of Harikatha under the teachings of Srimati Vishakha Hari. She is a student of Vijayshri School of Harikatha. Ramya also has a bachelor's degree in biological sciences from the University of Buffalo and is currently in her first year of medical school at Upstate Medical University in New York. I welcome once again all of you. Let's drown ourselves in Ramya Sridhar's Harikatha. Thank you.
Also, Radhe Krishna. Also, we have with us Srimati Nirmala Vardarajan, who is the main Sutradhari behind all this which we are doing, who is the manager, who is providing all the logistics and technical support for the Vijayshri School of Harikatha. I welcome her also with Radhe Krishnas and also request her to say a few words before we begin this week-long unique Harikatha Saptaha Malika on Krishna Leela. I think for the first ever time this is happening by different speakers on different topic, but on a continuity on the entire Krishna Leela. So thanks to this unique concept by our Guru Srimati Vishakha Hari ji, and which is ably supported by Nirmala ji and all the Sishyas of Vijayshri School of Harikatha. I once again welcome Nirmala ji as well as Ramya and request Nirmala ji to speak a few words before we start to listen Ramya. Radhe Krishna.
Thank you, Subhuji. Namo Namah Sadgurubhyaha, Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha, Namo Namah Sadgurubhyaha, Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Rameti Krishneti, Nama Sankirtanam Sada, Loka Kshemaya Kurvantam, Premikam Sadgurum Bhaje. Radhe Krishna, good evening to everyone and our humble pranams to the August gathering. It is indeed a privilege and pleasure to be part of this global event, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. And Vijayshri School is really very happy to be associating with Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy to do this wonderful event. Vijayshri School of Harikatha was inaugurated by our revered Guru Srimati Vishakha Mani on 19th February 2020. So today is indeed very special for us as the Vijayshri baby is today 6 months old. Wow. She is now starting to crawl, and you know what more can be really fitting than getting to do a Saptaha Malika on the occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. So it is indeed, we are very blessed and privileged. And Vijayshri was started in in fond remembrance of Mani's mother, Srimati Vijaya Santanam, and with the blessings of her revered Guru and father-in-law, Sri Sri Anna, also called as Sri Krishna Premi Swamigal. And we are actually training, Mani is training a lot of Sishyas, a lot of children, and we have students ranging across 5 years to 40 years. And in the beautiful art form of Harikatha, under our Siksha program, we also have satsang programs. So it is really a pleasure for us to present to you our 7 Sishyas to do this unique Bhagavata Saptaha Malika. So without further ado, I hand over to Subbuji, and thank you one and all for your support, and we hope you will really enjoy and soak yourselves in bhakti with our Sishyas. Radhe Krishna.
Radhe Krishna, thank you, Nirmala ji. I'm so glad to see Radha Muralidharan sitting behind Ramya Sridhar, who is the presiding deity at Paranur, and we have Shishi Anna here behind me. So how nice it is, as if usually when Shri Anna does the Govinda Shatakam at Paranur in the Utsavam which is going on, so Radha Muralidharan and Bhakta Kolaharan will be sitting just opposite that. Anna would be here and listening to that. So it's like that, the kind of feel, even though we are technologically connected, what a nice coincidence. So that, and my Gopalji is also ready here to celebrate his birth here. So with this, Radhe Krishna, welcome to Ramya. We are all very eager to hear you.
Radhe Krishna. Om Namah Sadgurubhyah Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha Namo Namah Sadgurubhyah Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha Hare Rameti Krishneti Nama Sankirtanam Sarva Lokakshemaya Kurvantam Premikam Sadgurum Bhaje Premikam Sadgurum Bhaje Vanshi Vibhushitakara Navanita Pitambarat Arunabimba Paladaroshtrat Purendu Swaldaramuka Purendu Swaldaramuka Aravilda Netrat Aravilda Netrat Krishna Param Kimapi Tattvamaham न जाने अरविंद नेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने श्याम सुंदर जगल मोरन लावण्य श्याम सुंदर जगल मोरन लावण्य श्याम सुंदर जगल मोरन लावण्य கோமலச்சரணன் கோபிகாரவனன் கூலிதகையே தலநடை பால கிருஷ்ண சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் கோமலச்சரணன் கோபிகாரவனன் கூலிதகையே தலநடை பால கிருஷ்ண சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் சந்திரவதனன் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் சந்திரவதனன் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் பார்க்கடலதனில் பள்ளி கொண்டவர் பாரில் நந்த கோபாலனாய் பிறந்த பார்க்கடலதனில் பள்ளி கொண்டவர் பாரில் நந்த கோபாலனாய் பிறந்த பார்க்கடலதனில் பள்ளி கொண்டவர் பாரில் கோபாலனாய் பிறந்த பார்க்கடலதனில் பள்ளி கொண்டவர் பாரில் நந்த கோபாலனாய் பிறந்த பார்த்த ஈரனை திருடி புள்ளடாமல் பார்த்த ஈரனை திருடி புள்ளடவன் பதம் பணியும் அன்பர் பவகோயரவள் தருணம் என் சரச கோபால சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் பதம் பணியும் அன்பர் பவகோயரவள் தருணம் என் சரச கோபால சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் சந்திரவதனன் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண சுவாமிக்கு சரியவதயம் Shriyapadhyana Bhagavan has taken numerous avatars, and out of all of them, Shri Krishnavataram is the most supreme and lovable by devotees at large. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. He proclaims that he takes an avataram whenever there is a need to establish dharma. Establishing dharma primarily involves two aspects. One is to safeguard the people who adhere to dharma, and secondly, to remove the obstacles created by those who do adharma. These can be done merely by the sankalpa of Bhagavan, but in spite of that, he incarnated as Rama in Treta Yugam as a human being to show all of mankind an ideal for all of us to follow. Matya avatarastu iha matya sikshanam. We all learn from the exploits of Rama how to conduct ourselves in our day-to-day lives. But Srimad Bhagavatam points to another beautiful reason as to why Bhagavan incarnates as Krishna and why Krishnavataram is supreme. Samsmarayam Stachintayal Shravan Samsmarayam Stachintayal नामानि रूपाणि च मङ्गलानि ते नामानि रूपाणि मङ्गलानि नामानि रूपाणि च मङ्गलानि ते क्रियासु यस्त्वच्चरणारविन्दयो क्रियासु यस्त्वच्चरणारविन्दयो आविष्टचेताः न भवाय कल्पते न भवाय कल्पते Just by reciting the beautiful names of Krishna and remembering and listening to the glorious leelas of Krishna, Shrinvan Grinanna Samsmarayamscha Chintayanna Namani Rupani cha Mangalani te. Our hearts become purified like freshly churned white butter, which Krishna immediately steals away. And when knowledge dawns on one's heart, they realize their own true nature, which leads to liberation. And for that reason, Krishna Avataram is the supreme avatar. With that in mind, as Shuka Maharishi says, Rasikaha Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Let all of us Rasikas listen to Krishna Leela, the beautiful exploits and wonders of Sri Krishna. Today, I will be presenting to you all Krishna Jananam, the birth of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Vishwambhara Kim Nashashakar Sarvam Saha Kim Nashashakar Shamapi Bhattum Paramakshama Kim Krishna Tvishameva Mayam Prabhavakaya Krishna Tvishameva Mayam Prabhavakaya. The one who tolerates the entire world is Bhumi Devi. Shri Shri Anna, in his Grantham, Govinda Kathamritam, describes her as Vishwambhara, Sarvam Saha, and Kshama. Bhumi Devi is set as the golden standard by which we associate patience, tolerance, and forgiveness. She withstands towering skyscrapers, massive mountains, and vast oceans. However, there is one thing she is unable to bear. Kim na shashaka sodu. What is that that she cannot bear? It is that she cannot tolerate Krishna dveshis. The atrocities and adharmic activities were increasing multifold as asuras and demons like Kamsa, Pralambhasura, Aghasura, Chanura, Putana, and so many more were terrorizing the earth. Bhumi Devi, being the one who can bear such enormous structures, could not bear those who do adharma. She takes the form of a cow and seeks refuge in Lord Brahma by prostrating before him. Sharanam bhavakarunamaye kurudinatayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Purvina Dayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Purvina Dayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Dayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Purvina Dayalo Karuna Rasavarunalaya Karuna Rasavarunalaya Karuna Rasavarunalaya Karuna Rasavarunalaya Karuna Rasavarunalaya Kariraja Kriparo Karuna Rasavarunalaya Kariraja Kriparo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Dayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Dayalo Adhuna Vidhinamayi Sudhiya Suravaredam Adhuna Vidhinamayi Sudhiya Suravaredam Adhuna Vidhinamayi Sudhiya Suravaredam Madhusudana 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 Haramamaguridam Madhusudana Madhusudana Haramamaguridam Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Purvina Dayalo Sharanam Bhavakarunamayi Purvina Dayalo. Bhagavan appears in the Samadhi of Brahmadeva and says he will incarnate as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva to eliminate all of these atrocities. Rajadani tatasa bhutan sarvaya davapuja Mathura Bhagavan Nityam Sannihito Hari. Gwalior, Agra, and Mathura, as we call today, existed in Dwapara Yuga as Bhoja Rajyam. It was ruled by Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena. Actually, it was supposed to be Ugrasena who was king, but Kamsa didn't allow his father to rule at all. He was disturbing all of the good deeds and dharmic activities in his kingdom. He imprisoned his own father and took the kingship for himself. One special day came when Kamsa's sister Devaki was getting married to Vasudeva, the son of Surasena of the Yadava clan. During the procession, Kamsa himself drives the chariot for the newly wedded couple to show off his affection for his sister. While doing so, an astral voice was heard. "Hey Abudha, Devaki's 8th child will destroy you." Hearing this, Kamsa becomes wild. he draws a sword to kill Devaki then and there. Vasudeva immediately pleads with Kamsa, trying to convince him to spare Devaki's life. Vasudeva was helpless. He tried to talk to Kamsa, saying that such a devious deed wouldn't befit him as a king. But Kamsa was in no mood to listen. Finally, Vasudeva pleads and says, "Let me give you all of my progeny. Please spare the life of Devaki." Kamsa, realizing that the danger was not with Devaki, but rather her progeny, spares her life. And as an added precautionary measure, he throws the brand newly wedded couple into jail. Kirtimantam pratamajam kamsaya nakagundubihi arpayamasa krichena sonritadati vihvalahara. Devaki's first child was born. He was a boy child. They named him Kirtiman. However, Devaki's happiness as a new mother was short-lived, as Vasudeva takes the child to Kamsa as he promised. At first, Kamsa decides to leave the child, as it's only the 8th child that's the problem. However, Vasudeva knew not to get his hopes up, because he knew that Asuras like Kamsa have a fickle mind and they may change their decision at any point of time. And soon enough, it's not even been a few minutes that Vasudeva returns to the cell, his jail cell with the child, that Kamsa quickly rushes over and grabs the newborn and throws him against the wall, killing him right in front of Devaki's eyes. Like this, Kamsa kills 6 of the children born to Devaki and Vasudeva one by one. Devaki is immersed in despair. புக்கினில் புக்கு உன்னை கண்டு கொண்டே போக விடுவந்தே மக்கள் அவ்வரை கல்லிடை மோத மக்கள் அவ்வரை கல்லிடை இழுத்தப்பல் கல்வயிற்று சிக்கன வந்து பிறந்து நின்றாய் திருமாலிரு சோலை எந்தாய் திருமாலிரு சோலை to such a couple who are immersed in sorrow, Bhagavan was going to incarnate. Seeing the pathetic state of Devaki, Bhagavan asks Yogamaya to transplant the 7th child from the womb of Devaki to Rohini's womb, the first wife of Vasudeva, residing in Gokulam. In addition, he asks her to be born as the daughter of Yashoda and Nandagopal. And thus, he says, she will be called divine names such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Kumuda, Chandika, Kamakshi, Meenakshi, and so on. And her devotees are going to sing her praise in various ways, like Shankari Kamakshi Devi Brahma Samaya Vidya and Meenaksham Nyayamaya Meenaksham Dina Vedikya Even though Bhagavan called her as Kamakshi, Meenakshi, and Ambika, she was looking for a special name, and it dawned on Bhagavan. Shyama Krishna Sahodari Shiva Shankari Parameshwari 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 Hari Garadula Puri Mahimanu Parama Smutudam Abhimaya Namule Dana Paidevi Parakenane Bhovade Purushi Bhairavi Shyama Krishna Sahodari Shiva Shankari Parameshwari. If you don't incarnate as my sister, how can Shyama Shastri address you as Krishna Sahodari? Ambal was overwhelmed with joy. So she immediately agrees and transplants Balarama in Rohini's womb and accepts to be born to Yashoda and Nandagopal. Now it is time for Bhagavan to incarnate. With Bhagavan himself residing in the womb of Devaki, there was an aura of divinity around her, similar to Sakshat Saraswati Devi. All the Devas came and extolled Devaki, and they were eagerly waiting for the avatar of Bhagavan. Atha sarvagmopetaha Kalaha Paramashwabhanaha Yathe Bhajana Janmaksham Shantarksha Grahata Atha sarvagmopetaha Kalaha Paramashwabhanaha Shobhanamana Kalam, the most auspicious time arrived. What does that mean? It was pleasant everywhere. Nature was in tune with itself. Wind was blowing softly, and the stars aligned to give maximum results. The celestials and the devas were ready for the arrival of Bhagavan. Avanimasam Rohini Nakshatram Krishna Paksham Ashtami Tithi midnight. Devaki saw a sudden stream of bright light and a Kutti Krishnan, a small Krishnan, a Guruvayurappan with 4 beautiful limbs emerged, holding a chakra, gada, and padma. Tamadbhutam balakam ambuje kshanam chaturbhujam Shankagadarmudayudam Srivatsalakshmam Kalashwabhikaustubham Pirambaram Sandrapayodasubhagam Maharnavaidhurya Kiritakundalatvisha Parishvakta Sahasrakuntalam Uttamakancham Gada Kankanadibihi Virochamanam Vasudeva Ikshata Shravana Krishna Ashtami Shubha Shravana Krishna Ashtami Shubha Sudine Shrita Janapana Paya Bhuvane Avadi Molayati Bhagavan Avadi Molayati Shankar Chakrangita Charu Chaturbhujaha Samrakshita Nija Dasa Samajaha Avadi Mojayati Bhagavan Avadi Mojayati. The song from the Govinda Shatakam of Sri Sri Anna describes Krishnavatara. Bhagavan appears with beautiful lotus-like eyes, with 4 hands, a conch and a mace, with pitambaram and a beautiful smile in his face. Upon seeing him, Devaki and Vasudeva were overwhelmed with joy. They are enlightened and they praise the Lord in enchantment. Prakatita nija rupam koti surya prakasham Parama Purushamenam Balakam Diksha Krishnam Vikasita Nalinacho Bhashparoma Gancha Yuktaka Pranamati Vasudevo Devaki Samyuktascha Bhagavan takes a child form and instructs Vasudeva to take him to Gokula and exchange him for the girl child born to Yashoda. Sri Sri Anna narrates so beautifully in Govinda Katamritam. Yadupati Sunu Kamsa Bhito Mukundam Dreta Shishu Vararupam Rodvaham Samrajanyam Savadi Samadurayam Nirgato Gokulalaya Pranaya Janita Bashpasnigdha Netraha Prataste Yadupati Sunu, Surashena's son Vasudeva, Kamsa Bhito, fearing Kamsa, Mukunda, took Krishna, Drita Shishu Vara Rupam, the one who has hidden his Chaturbhuja Rupam and taken a child form, Rajanya, in the middle of the night from Mathura to Gokula. Vasudeva's eyes are filled with tears to have to part from this most divine and precious child. As Vasudeva takes baby Krishna, the shackles on his hands come freed automatically. The jail doors open, the river Yamuna gives way, and Adishesha himself escorts Krishna. Ghore timire varshati mudire vidyuti bhasire gokula marge dhimi 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 ghane kritanade prasadati yamuna salila tarange gacchati nandar Vasudeva gacchati nandar. Vasudeva reaches Gokulam and sees the child next to Yashoda. He takes the girl child in his hands and Krishna in his heart and returns to Mathura. Hearing that the 8th child has been born, Kamsa immediately rushes to the jail cell, grabs the child and tries to kill her. With a swift kick to Kamsa, she flies in the air and Durga Devi appears with 8 hands and 8 celestial weapons, saying to Kamsa, the child who will destroy you is growing up in some other place. Stop hindering sadhus. And she disappears. Meanwhile, in Gokulam, everyone is in a festive mood. They throw milk, curd, butter at each other in ecstasy, celebrating the arrival of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Jagado dharana maganandu tiliyute 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 Magugana manikana adisidere Yashode Magugana manikana adisidere Yashode Magugala manikana adisidere Yashode Jagado dharana adisidere Yashode Jagado dharana paradhana. Bhagavan incarnated as Krishna in Gokulam, performing several exploits and stealing the hearts of not just the people who lived during that time, but also every one of us who think of him even now. Let's all continue to hear more of Krishna Leelas in the upcoming days and programs. Gopika Ramanaya चरणाय गोप गोवत्स पोषणाय पुनर्वासाय गोवर्धनेशाय श्रीमते भक्त कुलाहलाय जय मंगलम नित्य शुभ मंगलम जय मंगलम नित्य शुभ मंगलम।
Radhe Krishna. Ramya, it was ati for us to hear the wonderful Krishna Katha that you brought to us. How else it could be when you take the Krishna stories from Srimad Bhagavatam and add it to that with Shri Anna's Govinda Kathamritam, Govinda Shatakam, compositions of Purandara Dasa and the Alvars all together had brought a wonderful presentation which really took us to the real time of Shri Krishna's Jananam. And we thankfully, for our gratitude to Guru Srimati Vishakha Hari for accepting to present all her Sishyas to participate in this week-long Harikatha Saptaha Malika on Krishna Leela. And once again, all our appreciations to you. Our audience have showered a lot of their appreciations. Shri Ramoji, who is a very senior sadhaka, has commented, Ramya, tava bhava purna karna ramya, chitta akarshita hridaya harshita ghayanam va pravachanam sundaram, tava jihve vani vasatu, charai veti shobhanam varam varam bhavatu. He has given his blessings to you. We have so many great sadhakas, seniors who have been listening to you and have all been in that Krishnanandam. And friends, so this is the first of the series on the Harikatha Malika. And tomorrow we are going to have Aradhana Anand present the Bhala Leelas of Shri Krishna. She will be taking us from Mathura today to Gokulam to enjoy the childhood pranks of Krishna. So once again, we will all appreciate Ramya, except for some technical problems. We are in this technical era in lockdown, and lot of things and also challenges are coming to us. So I hope by tomorrow we will set right all those technical challenges and go ahead in Krishna Smaranam more and more. Radhe Krishna. We now move on to the next program of today with Professor M.A. Lakshmi Tatachar. I welcome Acharya Shri Lakshmi Tatachar, who is with us from Mysore, a renowned great scholar of Vishishtadvaita, of Vedanta, of Yoga, of entire Vaidika Parampara, who is here with us. And Shri Acharya Ji is going to present us on Krishna in Natha Muni's Yoga. As we all know, Krishna, we refer to Krishna and we revere Krishna as Yogeshwara, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. The entire Bhagavad Gita is a Yoga Shastra. Even Srimad Bhagavatam is definitely a grantha of Yoga Shastra. The Bhakti Yoga is very much predominant there. Sankhya Yoga of Kapila is there. And what was presented by Krishna and Vedavyasa was taken through the lineage of Alvars and Acharyas. And they have presented through the entire literatures of the years. It could be the Nalayira Divya Prabandham or various other writings of Acharyas. And in all those, we have with us a great living legend, a scholar who is present today from Melkote, which is one of the most important sthanams of Ramanuja Parampara. As we all know, Sri Ramanuja, when he came to Karnataka, he spent quite a lot of time propagating the Vishishtadvaita philosophy from Melkote and the Mandya district, Tondanur and other places. So Shri Lakshmi Tatachar is from there, and also he is heading the Samskriti Foundation at Mysore, through which lot of contributions to Samskrita, the Veda Parampara, Yoga, the Vishishtadvaita Siddhanta that he is doing. As we all know, Shri Lakshmi Tatachar has been a great renowned professor of Sanskritam and the philosophy and Yoga Parampara, and he had been the founder member of the Sanskrit Academy at Melkote also. And later he started the Samskriti Foundation, through which wonderful projects of digitizing the manuscripts and making wonderful, unique digital platforms for yoga and other philosophical works that we can do. He's ably assisted by his son Sri M.A. Alvar and Ananto, who is my friend. So with the wonderful team of Samskriti Foundation, Acharya has been doing great many works. He has been associated with many institutions, many universities like the FRLHT that we have, or it could be S. Vyasa Yoga University, it could be, and the Samskrita University, and various places he had been a professor, visiting professor, and had been immensely contributing through all his works, the writings, the teachings, the documentation, the manuscript digitization, and all that he had been doing. So I thought on this occasion, when we are celebrating Krishna Janmashtami and understanding Krishna's various facets, so it will be very apt to have beloved Acharyaji, Professor M.A. Lakshmi Tatachar, because he belongs to a great lineage which starts from Sakshat Ramanuja, the Tatachar Vamsha, which comes from Anantalvar, who took Ramanuja's message and went to Tirupati to serve there when it was nothing. Today we all go when a lot of developments are there to see Govinda. It was Anantalvar who went first of all time to Tirupati to develop the whole thing there, establishing the garden and doing all the seva for Sri Balaji there. So he comes in that lineage of Anantalvar, and it's our blessing that we have such a great Mahatma from Sri Ramanuja's Parampara, from Anantalvar's Parampara, from Sri Tatachar's Parampara that we have with us, Professor Acharya M.A. Lakshmi Tatachar with us. With Sirashashtanga pranams to him and welcome to him, and over to Acharyaji to listen to the yoga of Krishna's, Natha Muni's yoga, in which Krishna's role that we are going to learn from him. Namaste.
Namaste. Shall I start?
Yes,
Can
Acharya,
you hear me?
please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we are able to hear you.
Can I start?
You can start. Yes, yes. Only thing, your camera can be little more made straight. It is little tilted.
Ananti, camera there. Okay. Now, can you see me?
Yes, yes, that's okay.
Or,
This is better. This is better. Anantha, the camera konja straight pannappa.
okay, okay.
Screen konja straight pannu. Parvala. Now.
हे गोपालक हे कृपा जलनिधे हे सिंधु कन्यापते हे कंसान्तक हे गजेन्द्र करुणा पारीण हे माधव हे रामानुज हे जगत्त्रय गुरो हे पुंडरीकाक्षमं हे गोपी जननाथ पालय परं जानामि न त्वं विना ऋषिं जुषामहे कृष्ण तृष्णा तत्त्वमिवोदितं सहस्रशाखां योद्राक्षीत् द्राविडीं ब्रह्म संहिताम् இப்படி இல்ல இப்படி வச்சுமா இஸ் திஸ் பெட்டர் சரி நௌமி நாதமுனிம் நாம जीमूतं भक्त्यवग्रहे वैराग्य भगवत् तत्त्व ज्ञान भक्त्यभिवर्षुकम् तस्मै रामानुजार्याय नमः परमयोगिने यश्रुतिस्मृतिसूत्राणाम् अन्तर्ज्वरमशीषमत् याया वृत्तिर्मनसि मनसा जायतां संस्मृतिस्ते यो यो जल्पः स भवतु विभो नाम संकीर्तनन्ते याया चेष्टा वपुषि भगवन् सा भवेद्वन्दनन्ते सर्वं भूयाद्वरवरमुने सम्यगाराधनन्ते. My humble pranams to everybody. I am extremely thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to say a few things about Natha Muni's Yoga Parampara and Krishnanubhava of Natha Muni, and also, incidentally, Nammalvar. Probably many of you know that Mysore is the hub of yoga. It is because there was a person called Yogasanam Krishnamacharya who was teaching Nathamuni's Yoga Parampara to several students. Now, this Nathamuni's Yoga Parampara has spread all over the world, and even today, Pattabhirama Joyce and his grandson or something, and so many other people are propagating the Nathamuni's Yoga Parampara. And it seems Nathamuni had written a book called Yoga Rahasya, which was extinct. But now, the people belonging to the dynasty of Yogasanam Krishnamacharya have unearthed some manuscript, and they have also published that Yoga Rahasya, which was published from Chennai. And my friend Dr. M. Narsimachari has written a beautiful introduction to that also, who was the professor of Vaishnavism in the Department of Vaishnavism. So, very interesting thing is, Vishishtadvaita Siddhanta has got a very big Yoga Parampara, which starts from Nammalvar. The story goes like this. Some people from Melkote, they visited Kattumannar Koil, where Nathamuni was residing. And in that temple, these people went and sang certain Pashurams or psalms, they are called, or mystic poems, said to be composed by Nammalvar. The first stanza begins like this. ஆறாவமுதே அடியேனுடலம் நின்பாலன்பாயே நீராயலைந்து கரைய உருக்குகின்ன நெடுமாலே சீராறு சென்னல் கவரி வீசும் செழுநீர் திருக்குடந்தை ஏறாறு கோலம் திகழக் கிடந்தாய் கண்டே நிம்மானே. This is praising the Lord residing in Tirukudandai. And when these 10 Pashurams or 10 verses were sung by the people of Melkote, Nathamuni was thrilled. He went into an ecstatic mood. And then he came and approached these people and said, you have sung 10 verses. In the 11th verse, what you have stated is, Nammalvar has sung 1000 verses called Thiruvaimudi. And in this Thiruvaimudi, these are the 10 songs, that's what you have mentioned. I would like to know those songs or mystic poems which is to be composed by Nammalvar. They were so much enjoyable, and probably when Nammalvar was in yoga samadhi, these poems or verses were composed by him. I'll come to that later. So Nathamuni was overwhelmed when he heard these verses, and he was in search of these verses. These people said, we don't know more than this. We know only 10 verses and also the Phalashruti verse, which is called the 11th one. Apart from this, we don't know anything. Then, when Nathamuni was in search of these verses, he went all the way to Alvar Tirunahari, which was the birthplace of Nammalvar. It is called Tirukuruhur or something. It is in Tirunelveli district. He went there. And he was searching for these verses. He was searching for several manuscripts, etc. Nothing was available. At last, he came across a person called Parankusha Dasa, who belongs to the dynasty of Madhurakavi Alvar, who was an ardent devotee of Nammalvar. And that Parankusha Dasa gave some information. We don't know any of these verses. All of them are extinct. But what you can do is, you recite this Kanninun Sirithambu consisting of 11 verses, composed by Madhurakavi Alvar, who was a direct disciple of Nammalvar. And then you chant it nearly 12,000 times in Yoga Samadhi. Then probably Nammalvar will appear in your Yoga Samadhi, and he will teach you all these things. I think Nathamuni was very serious. He sat then and there, and then he sat in Padmasana. He sat in the yogic posture, and controlled his breath completely, and then he started meditating upon Nammalvar, and he was chanting these 11 verses composed by Bhadrakavi in praise of Nammalvar. So when he completed chanting these verses 12,000 times in the yoga posture, Nammalvar appeared to him in his samadhi, yoga samadhi, and he said, "What do you want?" Then Nathamuni says, "I am overwhelmed by the composition of yours, namely Thiruvaimozhi, and I want to retrieve that. Kindly help me." Then Nammalvar said, "Yes, I'll teach you all those things." Not only he taught those 1,000 verses composed by by himself, but he also taught all the other Nalayar Divya Prabandhams, or 4,000 verses composed by other Alvars, to Nathamuni in his Yoga Samadhi. So in that way, the Yoga Parampara of Nathamuni starts from Nammalvar, and indirectly or directly, he was a direct disciple of Nammalvar himself, and he was initiated into that Krishna Yoga by Nammalvar, who has sung the glory of Krishna in various ways. Here I have to mention a few things about Nammalvar. Sri Vaishnavas consider Nammalvar as the greatest Alvar, or as the greatest mystic poet, because as soon as Nammalvar was born, he didn't cry for milk, and he was still having the yogic vision itself. He is born Siddha Yogi, that's what they say. He was a Siddha Yogi who was born. He didn't cry for the milk, and he didn't eat anything. The parents who are not having a child for a long time, with the blessing of Tirukkurungudi Emberuman, got this child. But unfortunately, this child does not drink any milk or does not do anything. But every day it is developing, and it is becoming more and more brighter and brighter. At last, they watched the child nearly for 10 days, and they said, we can do nothing with this child. What to do? Then, in Alvar Tirunahari, there is a beautiful tamarind tree which is nearly 3,000 years old. Even today, you can witness that. You can go and see that. It is called Nirnidra Chinchataruhu, the tree which does not go to sleep at any time. Even during the nights, it will not go to sleep. Then you may ask the question, do the trees sleep in the night? Yes, definitely. Particularly, if you see the tamarind tree, the two leaves will close like this. Only in the morning they will open. So the opposite leaves close with each other. That's the thing. So it is called Nirnidra Chinchataruhu, and it's a tree full of hollow inside. You can see that even today you can see. And when Nammalvar was left near that tree, the child, which is aged about, which was just 10 days old, moved just like that and sat there in the yoga posture, and he was thinking of Krishna only. While praying, I mentioned a shloka, Rishim Jushamahe Krishna Trishna Tattvamivoditam Sahasra Shakham Dravidim Brahma Samhita. Nammalvar was called the personification of the thirst for Krishna. Krishna Trishna Tattvamivoditam. He is the personification of the thirst for Krishna. Every minute, every second, he was always thinking of Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Very interesting thing is, he didn't drink the milk of the mother because he was having three things: Dharaka, Poshaka, and Bhogya as Krishna only. That's why in his own Thiruvaimozhi he sings like this: Unnum Shoru, Paruhum Neer, Tinnum Vettilayum Ellam Kannan. The food I eat, anna, or the nutrients I consume. Parahum neer, water is considered to be dharaka. Without water, people cannot live even more than 3 days or something. People can live without food nearly for 1 month. So water is called dharaka. Who is dharaka for me? Krishna is dharaka for me. Unnum shoru, parahum neer. The water I drink is Krishna only. Tinnum vettilai, that means the beetle leaves, etc., which I enjoy, which I eat, is nothing but Krishna. It refers to the bhogya padarthas. That means luxurious things you enjoy is called, or sweets, etc., which you take is called bhogya. So for me, Krishna is dharaka, Krishna is poshaka, and Krishna is bhogya. Unnum shoru, parahum neer, tinnum vettilayum yellam kannan. That's what Nammalvar says. So such was Nammalvar's greatness, and he was always involved, as just now introduced by your organizer. He was immersed in Krishna because Krishna is the Yogeshwara in the world. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, yatra Partho Dhurdharaha, tatra Shrihi Vijayo Bhutir Matirmama. That's what has been stated in Bhagavad Mahabharata. So Krishna is considered to be Yogeshwara, Yoganam Ishwaraha Yogeshwara. Not one yoga he knows several yogas. That's the idea. So from that point of view, for yoga, Krishna becomes more important, most important. Very interesting thing is, Krishna taught several yogas in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But how much Arjuna grasped it is a different question. Because in some places it has been stated, Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dogta Gopalanandanaha. Bhagavad Gita is just like a cow. So the cow is milking. The milk is not given to the calf. Arjuna is just like the calf. Calf is in front of the cow and it is not drinking the milk. On the other hand, Dogdha Gopalanandanaha. Krishna milks the cow and the milk is enjoyed by great scholars and science, jnanis and wise people, and also several jnanis. Partho Vatsaha Sudhihi Bhokta. That's how it has been stated. So this Yoga Amrita, which is actually milked by Krishna, is given in Nammalvar's Tiruvaimozhi. Tiruvaimozhi is full of praise for Krishna, nothing else. He always mentions about Krishna, 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 etc., etc. Nathamuni got all this Tiruvaimozhi, or it is called Sahasra Giti or something, directly from Nammalvar, and then he was also practicing that particular yoga. Here, I want to mention one or two things about Nammalvar's Krishna Anubhavam. According to Nammalvar, Krishna is the supreme being, supreme Brahman, but at the same time, he is so easily accessible, and he is so simple, he can mix with anybody. Nammalvar actually prizes the Paratva of Krishna. He is the supreme being, he can do anything. In fact, if you go through Mahabharata, you find the valiant deeds of Krishna. Without Krishna, there is no Mahabharata. Who is the hero of Mahabharata? Krishna is the hero of Mahabharata. Everything was done according to his own wish and will. But he poses as though he is listening to so many people, etc., etc. And he had come to this earth, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. So in that way, Krishna was very important in Mahabharata, and Krishna actually taught so many things. and Krishna was also a Yogeshwara. So Nammalvar adopted the yoga system which was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and also Prapatti Yoga. And Bhakti, which is an end ultimately, that's also there. If you study the philosophy of Vishishtadvaita, you come to the conclusion that Bhakti is not the means alone. It could be the end also. Bhagavan Bhaktimapi Prayachame. That's what Alavandar says, Yamanacharya says, who is the grandson of Nathamuni. So Krishna Bhakti is more important. Bhakti doesn't become the means here to attain him. On the other hand, after you attain him, your bhakti will increase and it will not expect anything in return. I'll say a few things about Nammalvar's bhakti with regard to Krishna. Here I mention about his Saulabhya Guna, which has been explained beautifully if in one of the mystic verses of Nammalvar. பத்துடை அடியவர் கெளியவன் பிறர்களுக்கு அறிய வித்தகன் மலர்மகள் விரும்பும் அமரும் பெறலடிகள் மத்துரு கடவெண்ணை களவினில் உறவிடையாப்புண்டு எத்திரம் உறவினோடு இணைந்திருந்தெங்கிய வெளிவே. When Nammalvar sung this particular pasram, he swooned and he did not come to his senses nearly for 6 months. So 3 times he gets this moha. Because he was so much immersed in Krishna, when he enjoyed this particular thing in Krishna, immediately he swooned and he lost his senses. And he was unconscious nearly for 6 months. That's how this story goes. That is Krishna Anubhava, which is also enjoyed by Nathamunihal later through these verses. So that's why I am explaining the verses of Nammalvar only. Nathamuni got these poems only because of the grace of Nammalvar. So the situation is like this. பத்துடை அடியவர்க்கு எளியவன் பிறர்களுக்கு அறியவித்தகன். This Krishna, who is the incarnation of the Supreme Being, he is so simple, he is so easily accessible to people who have got devotion to him, who love him, who show affection to him. பத்துடை அடியவர்க்கு எளியவன். He is so simple. பிறர்களுக்கு அறியவித்தகன். For others who do not have any love for him, any affection for him, any devotion for him, for such people he is beyond reach. They cannot even think of him, they cannot even go near him. பிறர்களுக்கு அறியவித்தகன். மலரும் மகள் விரும்பும் நமரும் பெறலடிகள். Malar Mahal means Goddess Lakshmi. The word Malar Mahal is very interesting here. Goddess Lakshmi is born in lotus. So she is born from the Poo Mahal. That's how she is called. The lotus flower is so tender, and the Goddess Lakshmi who is born in the lotus flower is still tenderer or something. Such Goddess Lakshmi wants to reside in the chest region of the Supreme Being, Sriman Narayana, who has incarnated himself as Krishna here. And it is said in one of the pashrams of Nammalvar, Ahalahillen irayumen alarmel mange uramaruva Niharil puhadai ulaham munnudayai ennayalvane Niharil amarar munikkanangal virumbum tiruvengadatane In that particular place, he says, Goddess Lakshmi resides in the chest region of the Supreme Brahman, now incarnated as Krishna. Her residing place or her birthplace was lotus, which is so tender, so delicate, etc. But after she entered into the chest region of the Supreme Being or Lord Krishna, she never thought of her birthplace anymore. Generally, women are fond of their parents' houses. They want to go back as early as possible. Whenever from the husband's house, they used to go every now and then. Nowadays, problems are different. The situation totally different. In those days, they used to reside in the father-in-law, the mother-in-law's house, and they used to go back whenever they could get an opportunity. They used to go back to their parents' home. But this goddess Lakshmi has never looked back, and she has never thought of going back to her house even once after entering to the chest region of Lord Krishna. So such a wonderful place is the heart of Lord Krishna. That's what she feels. That's it. That's the thing. Then he says one thing. This supreme being, who is the spouse of goddess Lakshmi, who is the Vaikuntha or the lord of this Vaikuntha, which is 3 times bigger than the Prakritika Loka, and such a person has come down to this earth as Krishna. Not only has come down to this earth as Krishna, he is showing several childish pranks of him, which are most enjoyable. In this particular verse, Nammalvar says, Nammalvar brings in a very interesting situation. In the Vrajabhumi or in the Gokula, all the cowherds and particularly the cow maids used to churn the butter early in the morning. Around 4:30 or 4:45 they would rise. They would have a big pot. In that, lot of curds will be put and cream will also be there. And in those days, they didn't have electric light or some such thing. On one side, Yashoda was keeping a burning lamp on one side of the pot, and she would sit in front of the pot, and on the other side there would be so much of big shadow of the pot itself. It would be very dark. When she is churning the curds, slowly butter will appear. Before butter appears, what happens? There will be bubbles only, bubbles which will be bursting. Krishna is very fond of butter. He is a small child, and without the knowledge of Yashoda, has to come and steal the butter. So Krishna is also black in color, and the shade of the pot which falls on the other side, because one side she has kept the lamp, other side is totally dark. From that side, Krishna comes, and when Yashoda is singing something and churning the curds, probably not thinking that Krishna will come, he used to put his hand inside the pot where butter would be there, but the butter has not come yet. It will take some more time. But in the meanwhile, what happens? He is so much interested in eating it, and he puts his hand and tries to get some butter and then licks it. While writing the commentary, Periyavachan Pillai and also Nambillai say, Krishna was eating the butter, even though it was not ready, even though it was in the form of bubbles, etc. வெந்தது கொத்தையாக உண்பாரைப் போலே. There are some people in this world who will be cooking. While they are cooking, they are very eager to taste it. So when it is half baked, they will put something which is very hot inside their mouth. They cannot swallow it, they cannot spit it out also. So in the same eagerness, and at the same time, Krishna was so much hasty to consume the butter. So even though the butter was not ready, he used to take it and try to eat it and lick his fingers. Once or twice, what happened when she was churning the butter, churning the curds, somehow she felt something is touching that mantha danda or something, churning rod. She thought probably nothing is there. But one or two times again it happened. So suddenly she caught hold of that particular hand and she immediately said, "You fellow, you are stealing the butter, even though the butter has not yet come and still it is coming, you are already eating." So she catches hold of him. Nammalvar enjoys this particular situation. Not enjoys. He says, "What Krishna is doing?" Then she is very angry. Krishna was caught red handed when he is stealing the butter. She says, "I'll teach you a lesson today." She will have a small stake or something in her hand, and she says, Krishna begins to cry. Because a child of the age of Krishna will cry only because it is caught red handed. Then she says, "Why, why? If you open your mouth, I'll beat you. Be careful." So Krishna is in a mood to cry, but at the same time he cannot cry. So he controls his sorrow and also his position in such a way. So what happens? Then Yashoda says, "I'll tie you to a pestle or something, mortar, to a mortar." She takes him there and tries to tie him. Nammalvar says, just see the situation. Krishna is the Paratpara Vastu. He is the Supreme Being. He removes the ties of all the people because he is Samsara Bandha Sthiti Moksha Hetuhu. He can create the Bandha and he can also create the Moksha from the Samsara. Such a person is standing before Yashoda. He is trembling, crying, but at the same time he cannot open his mouth and cry aloud because Yashoda may beat him. He is so much afraid. And then Yashoda, in her anger, she is in a fit of anger. She wants to tie him into the pestle. It seems, according to the descriptions given in Divya Prabantham, she had kept a rope for tying Krishna whenever he does some mischief. Krishna was such a mischievous child. Whenever Yashoda is not there, he would take that rope and he used to cut it into pieces. Then Yashoda says, "Oh, this is a mischievous child. Anyway, what shall I do? Whenever I find time, I'll put put the knots and ultimately make it one rope or something." So she had kept such a rope which was full of knots because as and when Krishna would find time, he used to cut it. And she wanted to tie Krishna to the pestle, to the mortar rather. Pestle, not the correct. To the mortar. Koralu, that's what they say. Kural. But very interesting thing is, she was in a fit of anger. When she wanted to tie to his belly and also this mortar, it was short by nearly 3 inches or 4 inches or something. One shan, they will say. One shan, it may be around 5 to 6 inches, let's say. So, what she did was, she brought another small piece and once again put the knot and joined it, and she wanted to tie him. But again, it was less by 6 inches. Again, another piece was brought. She put it together and again to try to tie him. It was 6 inches less again. In the fit of anger, she did not understand the Maya created by Krishna. At last, Krishna said, my devotee wants to bind me. She wants to tie me to this martyr. So let me fulfill her wish. So what he did was, he shrunk his belly and allowed Yashoda to tie him to the Ural or that martyr. And at the same time, it is said, Krishna was lying there as though he is an insentient being. There was no difference between the Ural or the martyr and also Krishna. He was just lying down like that there. That's what Nammalvar says. Then Nammalvar exclaims, what is this Krishna? What is your Maya? You are the Supreme Lord. You are the person who will remove all the bondages, all the bonds of the people and elevate them to the Vaikuntha, liberate so many people from the samsara bandha. But when your devotee wanted to bind you by means of a rope which was full of knots, you ultimately yielded and got tied by her. Yettiram muralinodu inaindirundu engiye velivu. The last portion is very important. After she tied him to that martyr, he was lying there just like an insentient being or just like a lifeless being. It was lifeless and he was also lifeless. So he was the person who was removing the bandha of all the people. Such a person got. So there is the supreme being who is the lord of all the innumerable andas in this universe. And where is this Krishna standing in front of Yashoda, just trying to cry, at the same time not able to cry because he is very much afraid of her. இணைந்திருந்து ஏங்கிய எழிவு, that's what they say. That means he is trying to cry, but at the same time he was controlling it. So such a situation, then this amply justifies that people who have got so much of affection for Krishna, they can also tie him, they can do whatever he wants, or whatever they want actually. That's why in one of the Dasa's Kirtana, Purandara Dasa's Kirtana, I think, Huva taruva ramanege hulla taruva. If you offer him a flower, he will bring this grass to your house. He will carry grass and bring it to your house. That is called the saulabhya, easy accessibility of the Supreme Being. Here, Nammalvar prizes the supremacy of the Lord Krishna because he is the Shriyapati, he is the Lakshmipati. That's why he is the Supreme Being. Such a Supreme Being appears before Yashoda and gets tied by her just like a small child, just like any other ordinary child, etc. What is this? This is your great Maya. That's what Nammalvar says. And when he says, Yettiram muralinodu inaindirundu engiye elive. Yettiram muralinodu inaindirundu, when he was singing that, he swooned. And nearly for 6 months he did not get consciousness. Once again, when he came back to consciousness, Uralinodu inaindirundu engiye elive, he sang later. So that is a sample of the mystic poetry of Nammalvar, which was given to Nathamuni, and he was always enjoying it, or he was reciting Thiruvaimozhi, which was a mystic song. Very interesting thing is, it was also sung in so many ragas. In fact, I have done a lot of research work with regard to the raga, which was being used to sing the different pashrams of Thiruvaimozhi, or pashram means the verses of Thiruvaimozhi. Todamangalam is one pan, and Panchamam is another pan, etc. All these are very old ragas. Now they have got different new names actually. Todamangalam has become Gambhira Nati now. So in that way, there a lot of research can be done. Now, Nathamuni, who was enjoying these verses, mystic verses, and he used to go to Samadhi many a times. Very interesting thing is, Nathamuni was not Nathamuni alone. In Tamil, what happens when you write Natha, it becomes Nada also. So he is Nadamuni. Nadamuni means he was practicing Nada Yoga. He was practicing Krishna Yoga. He was practicing Nada Yoga. And this Nada Yoga means he is expected to sing Tiruvamadi in different ragas, etc., in different talams also. Very interesting thing is, Nathamuni was an expert in Nada. They use the word Kulitalam or something. It is symbols they use when they are actually reciting these verses to put the talam. And when the cymbals are played, Nathamuni would listen to the sound of the cymbal and then say, this is the weight of that particular cymbal. He had such a wonderful experience, or such a expertise in Nada. If 100 Kulitalams are played together, then he would say, this Nada has emerged from this Kulitalam, and that Nada has emerged from that Kulitalam, etc., etc. That was the greatness of Nathamuni. And Nathamuni enjoyed this Krishna Yoga Parampara, which was given to him by Nammalvar. And this is also practiced by several other Alvars. How much time is there? You please tell me. How much time I can take?
Another 15 minutes, Acharya.
Okay. I think I have not
Professor Lakshmi Tadachar has joined us from a very remote place near Melkot as he has come back. Yeah. You have to unmute the volume. Ananti, you have to unmute the volume there.
Yes. Now you can hear me?
Yes, Acharya. Now we can hear.
Okay. I'll just conclude within 15 minutes. One more thing about this Krishna Dhyana and also Krishna Yoga, which was propagated by Nathamuni later. Hello? Okay? Are you hearing me?
Yes, Acharya. We are hearing you. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
It seems Nammalvar was aspiring the union of the Supreme Lord in his Sri Vaikuntha. Many a times he would cry, and when he goes to the Samadhi, he almost visualizes the Supreme Lord. And when he wants to embrace him, suddenly Supreme Lord disappears. If you study the Tiruvamadi of Nammalvar, you come across Samshlesha and Vishlesha. That means when he is separated from the Supreme Lord, he cries. And when he is with the Supreme Lord, he is overwhelmed by the union of the Supreme Lord. So in his Samadhi state, he experiences all these things. It is very interesting. Many a times I say, Nammalvar's 1,000 Passions is the soliloquy of Nammalvar. It is his dialogue with the Supreme Being. In that way, it's a very interesting mystic poetry. How it emerged, that also has been stated in our Shastras. Bhagavad Bhakti Balatkartale Vadipatta Sollahir. Nammalvar was not a person who had studied anything. As soon as he was born, he went into the Yoga Samadhi, and he was just sitting in Samadhi up to 16 years, and afterwards he got liberation. But he has written such a beautiful poetry, mystic poetry. How did it come? Further, the example given is Bhakti Balatkartale Vadipatta Sollahir. With regard to other poets, and also the Nammalvar, who is the greatest poet, the difference is like this. There are innumerable poetry is written by different poets, innumerable poets. But what is the difference between those poets and Nammalvar? அவர்கள் கவிகளோடு கடலோஷோடு வாசியர அவத்தை விட்டு இவத்தை பத்தி தோழகடி பக்தி பலாத்காரத்தாலே வழிபட்டு சொல்லாகிறே. People will not indulge in the poetry of other poets because they are all labored poetry. The poetry of Nammalvar has come spontaneously from his heart. It was overflowing from his heart because he could not contain that ecstasy in his heart when he had the divine experience. And that divine experience has flown just like this poetry. That's what it is. Bhakti Balatkartale Vadipattu Sollahe. Such Nammalvar, when Lord comes or in his samadhi, he comes before him and he says, I want to liberate you. Can you come to Moksha? Can you come to Vaikuntha? Then Nammalvar asks him, for what purpose I should come to Vaikuntha? No, because you wanted the union with me in Vaikuntha, so I am offering it to you. Then Nammalvar says, then I don't want it. In Kannada, they say, Enne banda kanmuchkundu. And somebody is actually extracting oil from sesame. When the oil is about to come, you close your eyes. Then what happens? You lose the oil. So Lord asks him, why you are not coming? You please tell me. Then Nammalvar says, Tanakkeyaha enaikkallumide. By my coming, if you are happy, by my coming to the Vaikuntha, by my arrival at the Vaikuntha, if you are happy, you please take me. Otherwise, I don't want to come there. If it is for my sake, I don't want to come. That was the Preeti or Bhakti of Nammalvar in the Supreme Being. Many times, we also love the Supreme Being and we also worship Him. We show our affection, love, etc., etc. It's all mostly business because we want something from Him. Real love or affection does not expect anything in return. So, from that point of view, Nammalvar Siruvamali in such a thing, so he calls it Parartha Kainkariya or something. I come to Vaikuntha just to please you. If you are pleased, I am there. Otherwise, I don't want to come to Vaikuntha. So, this is called Paramartha Bhakti or something. Or this is Niswartha Prema or Niswartha Bhakti. Probably this type of preeti or affection can be seen only in mothers. A mother pampers her child and takes care of the child so well, and she showers all her love and affection on the child, and she feeds the child so well, etc. She will take care of the child in every way. But does she expect anything in return? Because she is showing so much of affection to the child, she will not expect anything in return. In that way, what happens? When we have got love towards the Supreme Being, we should not aspire for anything. We should not expect anything in return. On the other hand, showering all our love and affection on the Supreme Being, that itself is the ultimate end. That's why Yamunacharya, the grandson of Nathamuni, in his Stotra Ratna, which is an outstanding piece of devotional lyric, he says, Bhagavan Bhakti Mapi Prayachame. Bhakti becomes the end rather than the means. In Bhagavad Gita, what happens? It is shown that bhakti as a means. But once you do this bhakti as a means, then what happens? You have got a sort of ego. And you are doing some sort of business with the Supreme Being. I call it business just because in our early child Yakyanams, they have very clearly stated it is Adana and Pradana. Dehime dadamite pravarti, that's what they call it. If you go to a shop, you purchase something. So he gives you something, but at the same time, he also stretches another hand to get the money from you. So that type of attitude should not be cultivated towards the Supreme Being or Lord Krishna. On the other hand, it should be pure, pure, pure love, just like the love of Yashoda, just like the love of that cowherds and cowmaids, etc., etc., which expects nothing in return. So I don't want to go to the portion of Ras Leela and so many other things which are beautifully mentioned in that. I'll mention one more thing about Periyalvar. Periyalvar also comes under the parampara of Nammalvar, and Nathamuni had adopted that yoga also coming from Periyalvar. Periyalvar is the greatest poet or Tamil poet who has sung the glories of young Krishna, that is called Pillai Tamil or something. One verse I'll recite from Periyalvar and then conclude almost. I think my time is over. I'm very conscious of the time, I'll conclude it. கிடக்கில் தொட்டில் கிளிய உதைத்திடும் எடுத்து கொள்ளில் மருங்க இருத்திடும் ஒடுக்கி புலகில் உதரத்தே பாய்ந்திடும் மிடுக்கிலாமையால் நான் மெலிந்தேன் நங்காய். Yashoda tells her friends, other women, no, I cannot, this child is so difficult to handle. She is very proud of that actually. When they are complaining about their child, mothers are very proud of that child, those children. So she says, Kidakil Tottil Kaliya Udaitidam. She is still a young baby. He is still a young baby. When I leave him in this Tottil cradle, he kicks the cradle and breaks it. So then what I will do? I will try to put him on my waist. Then what happens? He kicks my what is that? Stomach so much. I cannot withstand that. கிடக்கில் தொட்டில் கழிய உதைத்திடும் எடுத்துக்கொள்ளில் மருங்க இருத்திடும். If I put him on the waist, on the side, he will kick there. And once again, if I put him in front of me, near the stomach, he will kick the stomach so much. I cannot withstand this, and I cannot manage this child. Oh, it is so difficult to manage this child. That's what Periyalvar enjoys. கிடக்கில் தொட்டில் கிளிய உதைத்திடும் ஒடுக்கி புல்கில் உதரத்தே பாய்ந்து கிடக்கில் தொட்டில் கிளிய உதைத்திடும் எடுத்து கொள்ளில் மருங்க இருத்திடும் ஒடுக்கி புல்கில் உதரத்தே பாய்ந்திடும் மிடுக்கிலாமையால் நான் மெலிந்தேன் நங்காய். In this way, the Krishnadubhava of Alvars was adopted by Nathamuni, and he used to have this Krishnadubhava regularly. And Nathamuni was a highest yogi, and he would be in ecstasy always, divine ecstasy, and he would also sing several songs which are very beautiful. And probably I'll say, from my point of view, Nammalvar and Nathamuni are the beginners of Karnataka Sangeeta in Tamil Nadu, in South India. This may appear to be a very what should I say, ambitious statement or something. I abide by it. I'll try to mention it sometime later. I'm extremely thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and I am also thankful to all the persons who have listened to my lecture with so much of patience. If I had given some contribution, I feel extremely happy. And if I have not done anything, it is only because of my own limitations. Thank you very much. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, Adiyan. Sashtanga pranamams to Sri Acharya Ji. And it is, limitless to hear the Leelas of Krishna, to the Anubhavas of Alvars and Acharyas like Nathamuni. And we can't bring it in such a short time, like 1 hour or so. So just like taking few drops from the ocean, a few waves from the ocean. So you have made us today to have few waves in the ocean of the Divya Prabandham of Alvars and the early chants of Acharyas like Natha Muni. And this is just to introduce to a few audience who would not have perhaps heard about the Divya Prabandham, the early chants of Acharyas like Natha Muni and also the Alvars. So it was a very good introduction that you gave of what the Divya Prabandham is, how even the yoga, which is not only restricted to the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali or the Hatha Yoga Pratipika. In fact, as we see, the Alvars are the ancient most in the Kali Yuga. After the start of Kali Yuga, I used to remember our Guru Shishi Anna always quote from the Bhagavata Mahatmya, where Bhakti is telling her Mahatmya, where she says, Utpanna Dravideshaham Vridhim Karnatake Kata, Kvachin Kvachin Maharashtre Gurjare Jirnam Gata. So Alvars are the people from the Dravida Desha, from our own Tamrabarani, Kritamala, Payasvini, from all these Natitiras that they have come, and they are the foremost yogis of the Kali Yuga when the Kali started. So the Nama Sankirtana is the Kali Santarana. It is that what will take away all the papas and tapas of the Kali Yuga. And this is the greatest yoga that we can do. All at the most, yoga is Chittavritti Nirodha, Mana Prashamana Upayaha. That which can make us to feel that union with that Paramatma Shri Krishna. And that is what the Alvars have experienced. And you say one line, one anubhava of Namalvar can take him to Samadhi for 6 months. So what more a yoga than that? And that which got nashta for some time, the great Acharya Natha Muni brought it back, and later, as you rightly pointed out, Shri Krishnam Acharya and his Shishya Parampara and Acharyas like you have brought those yogic teachings of the Nammalvar and the entire Parampara of Alvars, and then the Acharyas, Natha Muni and other later Yamunacharya, Sri Ramanuja. Everything is brought back to our time. Even today, if not, we can't experience to go to that level of what high levels of Samadhi that they had. At least the Shravananandam, that Anubhavanandam that we can't get, but at least the Shravananandam, to hear these great works is the attempt that we wanted to do in this difficult time of the pandemic, the COVID-19 situation, when we are all in lockdown. Rightly, one of our sadhakas, Sri Ramuji, had pointed out, Krishna himself was born in the Karagraha, in the jail, probably to tell us the message that we have to come out of this jail of samsara. I think that is where we are experiencing this lockdown, being at home and everything. But still, even in this, sadhaka, bhakta will make any pratikulya as anukula. So even though we have a lot of difficulties, we are trying to bring in satsangas of Mahatmas like you and benefit the society at large. That is our humble attempt that we are trying to do. And once again, on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy, my Sirasashtanga pranams to Acharya Shri Lakshmi Tatachar, and many of our participants were remembering their visit to Melkote and their interaction with you at various occasions. The hospitality and the care that you had showed them all, the Vatsalyam that you had showed them all. Many of them had been chatting here. I'm seeing all their comments, which I'm offering to you. I request our friend Krishnam Vande to take over for the further announcements.
Namaskar.
Acharyaji, one thing, but how would people be able to reach out to you to follow your works of Samskriti Foundation? So can we share the website or something so that they will all be able to?
Samskriti.org.
Yes.
SAMS KRT Samskriti.org.
Yeah, Samskriti.org. So this is a website
You
where
can have my phone number also. You can give them my phone number if they want any.
Yes, Acharya. So those who require Professor's contact number can ping me in the WhatsApp. I shall share you his number.
I think KRITI don't put. Samskriti KRTI.
Okay. Some SAM. Yes.
SAMS KRTI.
KRTI. TI.org. So this website where you can reach out to all his works that he is doing. All his works are there. So you can get connected to him. If you want to contact him, you can contact me in the WhatsApp. I shall share Acharyaji's phone number also, as rightly he has given.
I'll take 1 more minute to say something.
Please.
Just give me 1 minute.
Please
In
take
fact,
as much
I have
as you want.
taken 1 minute only. I have used the shloka given by Krishna, Urdhumoolam adhashakham ashwatam prahuraviyam, in which he says, from Omkara, all the Indian knowledge systems have emerged. I have prepared a software for that. and it is such a wonderful thing. If people are willing to see that, let them come and see in Melkote. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all. Namaste.
I request Krishna Vani to do the further announcements and tomorrow's sessions.
Achapa. Announcement.
Krishna Vani, you have to unmute, please unmute yourself. You are not heard.
Yeah. Thank you, Sububhaya. Somebody's pointed out in the chat box that they are very happy to have darshan of such a senior yogi. My pranams too for that. So on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga Academy and Advaita Academy, I thank Professor Lakshmi Tatacharya and Ramya Sridhar for this wonderful evening. It was such a divine one. I also thank all the viewers present here, the attendees. Hope to see you all tomorrow also. Today we heard about the Krishna Janma in the Harikatha form from Ramya Sridhar, followed by Alvar's Anubhavam, Alvar's Krishna Anubhavam. And according to Vishishta Advaita, Bhakti is not the means alone, as our professor said. It can be the end too. Krishna, the incarnation of the Supreme Being, is easily accessible to those who have Bhakti, but not at all reachable for those who don't have it. With this note, on today, we move on to tomorrow's program, which again in this Harikatha Saptaham, we have the Bala Leelas of Krishna in Harikatha form by
I request Kotiji to share the program for tomorrow.
Kumari Aradhana Anand, who is also Shishya of Srimati Vishaka Hari. This will be followed by a talk by Sri P.V. Rajaraman on Krishna in the heart of Acharya Shankara. So we will get to see the Advaita point of view also tomorrow. Hope to see you all there tomorrow. And this program is available over the Facebook, YouTube, and also over Zoom. So it would be nice if you could invite all your friends, relatives, contacts to watch this program and also enjoy the divine experience what we had today. Thank you so much. So, Radhe Krishna.
Once again, I request Kotiji to please share the screen of tomorrow's program to the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, it's come there. Krishna in the heart of Acharya.
So today we have heard about how Krishna was experienced by the Vishishtadvaita Parampara of Alvars and Acharyas. And tomorrow we have my young friend, Sri P.V. Rajaraman, who is an assistant professor at Rajalakshmi College of Engineering, a very great scholar of Advaita Vedanta. He has studied from great scholars of the Vedanta, from Swami Paramarthananji and various great Shastris. So he is going to present on Krishna in the heart of Acharya Shankara. That will be there tomorrow. And also in the Harikatha, we have another program. Tomorrow is, next slide, Kotiji. So it will be Aradhana Anand, who will be presenting on Krishna's Bala Leelas. That will be another session tomorrow, which we're going to have. So hopefully all the technical difficulties that we are having, we will try to solve it. We will try to do it well in advance, taking care of enough precautions. Please do share to more and more people, that more and more people can join us and benefit from all these sessions. I'm overwhelmed today by listening to the Harikatha session by Ramya Sridhar, one of the senior most Harikatha exponent from Andhra Pradesh, Srimati Rajeshwari, who comes in the lineage, like she is the great granddaughter of a great Harikatha Dasa who had composed a lot of songs and all those things in the 18th century from Andhra Pradesh. She herself called and showered her blessings. So such as the overwhelming response that we are getting from all people. So thank you all so much for all this wonderful support that you are extending. So here we conclude tomorrow's program. The other program is Kumari Aradhana Anand, again a Sishya of Srimati Vishaka Hari, is going to present on the Bala Leela of Shri Krishna. the childhood pranks from Gokulam, she's going to bring to us. Yet another very gifted singer, Aradhana Anand, she's going to present us the Krishna Lila tomorrow. So we now conclude with the theme song, the Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. And with this Krishna Smarana, let's see here Shri Krishna in his cradle on the Krishna Jadanam today. Shri Bala Gopala is here. So by listening to the song, I request my friend Kotiji to present the song for us. So with the song, by enjoying Krishna in the cradle, we conclude for today's session. Jai Shri Krishna.